Welcome back to Learn English with Camille, and most of the time,
Calvin.
we are so excited to be here for yet another conversation about 2 years in Portugal.
Portugal, yay!
Yay! So, for those of you that don't know us, we were both born and raised in the United States. We lived a bit of a nomadic life, spending around 3 months in several different countries around the world with our 3 children, and we finally settled in Portugal.
Are we crazy? Yes.
Yeah, so we'll talk in this video about why we came to Portugal, and we did a video about that already, so if you want more details, we can go ahead and link that. But we said, maybe it's like the romance phase because we loved it so much, but it was only a month or two in.
Mm-hmm.
Do we feel the same? How have we been? What do we like? What do we not like about being here in Portugal? Stay tuned. Before we get started, I wanted to share my books with you. I create courses, I write books. You can find them on my website, learnenglishwithcamille.com or Amazon. There are dialogue books, short story books, activity books to teach your kids English, and so much more. So be sure to check them out. So, Calvin, I will give you a minute to finally speak.
Thank you. I've been waiting and waiting to speak.
In a nutshell, do you want to talk about why we moved to Portugal?
Yes, I will. So we moved to Portugal because we love Europe, and Portugal is located in Europe. So that's the short version.
Yeah.
Why do we love Europe? The history. We love the sea, which you're mostly near it, unless you're in some other country. I don't know, in the north maybe. Most European countries have the ocean, which is nice. Portugal specifically, there were a number of factors, including language, tax incentives, how we were feeling God was leading us, what we felt was best for our family in this next season, how raising bilingual children is another reason.
Yeah.
Am I missing any?
Politics is not a reason. People think we left because of President Trump, or people think we left because of school shootings. People just have these strange ideas about why we left. And so those reasons, at least, are not why we left the US. We do miss our family, and we will go back to visit our family. We still have a house in the US. We run our businesses from the US.
We love the USA. It's a great country.
Yeah, it is. But we're choosing this season of our lives to raise our kids in Portugal and to live here. So, Calvin, 2 years into living in Portugal,
Wow.
how quickly does time pass?
It's like a vapor, like a mist.
So, guys, I don't know if the older you get, the faster time moves, but it seems that way. Like our oldest son is about to turn 12, and I'm like, how do we have a 12-year-old? How?
I know. Seriously, it's crazy. We have to take advantage of this life because it goes by quickly. Do the things that we want to do or try the things, take risks. And moving to Portugal was a risk for us, for sure, to move our life here.
Yeah. Well, we were traveling nomadically for about 9 months when we finally settled here. And when we got here, we had 3 suitcases, one of those being filled with rollerblades and helmets that we bought in Barcelona.
Yeah.
So we basically moved here with suitcases.
Mm-hmm.
We found this incredible rental house with a view of the sea and the river. And the first year, I homeschooled our kids. Last year, they went to school, and they just started school again here in Portugal. And like Calvin touched on, being in a place where our kids can grow up learning Portuguese, of course, learning English from us, and then they'll also get to learn either French or Spanish in school is just amazing. We're huge advocates for learning a language. And so that is really fun about living here.
Yes, yeah, we love to hear our kids speaking Portuguese when we can hear them. They don't sometimes like to speak it when we're around,
Yeah.
but it's always fun. And yeah, we've benefited from language learning, as you can tell from this channel. We love languages. So it's great to see our kids growing in their second language, hopefully of many.
Have you felt like your Portuguese has gotten better since living here?
I would say it's improved a lot, but I would also say that I've slacked off too much.
What do you mean by that?
You can get to a level with the language, intermediate, where most things that you do, you can get by with what you know.
Yeah.
And you can communicate, with the words you know. But then, you might come into a situation where you don't know the words or you don't know how to express yourself, in the way that you want to. And that's still pretty hard for me in different situations. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me as well, I studied Portuguese, like actively studying by speaking with Brazilians, watching YouTube videos, reading, writing, all of that stuff. And it was about a year of intense studies. That was back in like 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
And so then I've learned since then French and Turkish. And I always tell myself, Camille, you live in Portugal. Your Portuguese is like okay at that good level where you can communicate, but I'm still like lacking words. I'll still be like, what did they say? What does that mean? I had to go to my kids' schools for meetings, and I think I understood like 80%. So I'm like, okay, there's like room for 20% growth for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I don't know why, Calvin, but we're not just seeking to get better.
Maybe it's our age. No.
No.
I think,
I don't know.
yeah, we have to be more intentional about it. I think I got better in Spanish because I would note the things that I didn't know, maybe writing it down, maybe thinking more about those words or how to express it. Whereas I've gotten more lazy with Portuguese and just been like, whatever,
Yeah.
So that might be why. So I just gotta, I think, be more aware and be more vigilant in writing down things, maybe reading more. I think reading will really help. Listening.
Yeah.
We get a lot of listening practice in the day to day. Also, we go to church mostly every Sunday, and the sermons, the worship, everything is in Portuguese.
Yeah. Speaking to people after.
Yeah.
It's like about a 4-hour Portuguese lesson.
Yeah. So we get one at least if we go to church. So that's nice.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of church, I think that has been one of the biggest gifts here. We didn't know that this church, it's called A Casa, and it's a Christian church in somebody's home. And well, it's not like a mega church, but how many members are there? Maybe like 50 or 60
people. Yeah.
So that has been such a gift to us because we made friends that way. And I feel like, wow, these are my people. So settling into Portugal, having this community and this group of friends and people we can hang out with or exercise with or see on Sundays or invite for a meal has made it feel more settling. Because Portuguese people, from what we've heard, from what people have told us, they're very family oriented. Like it's hard to get them to get together. Like I have one person at school who kind of pursues my friendship. One of my kids goes to the same class as her son. And so like we're getting together today. But apart from that, like no relationships with Portuguese people outside of our church community. Do you have any?
None that, I think that I meet with on a regular basis, just here and there, maybe. There's a realtor guy that I met with once.
Yeah.
And no, just from the church. We have Portuguese friends.
So if you're moving to a place, I recommend maybe you're not a church goer. A church is a great place, or just a place where there's a common interest, like a club, a reading club, a sports club, I don't know, whatever it is. So that way you go and then you see the same people and then you can build relationships, which takes time. And we're like 40, you're 41. So I don't think it's,
Thanks for pointing that out.
maybe it's not as easy as when you're like 20, right? To make friends. I don't know. Let us know in the comments.
I don't know.
What you think.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just getting yourself in the right environments. Like I started playing pickleball.
That's true.
And I noticed it was kind of created this community, that we have a WhatsApp group. And I guess I'm trying to think, there might be some Portuguese. It's pretty international, which is kind of fun. And they had a barbecue. I missed it because I was out of country. But yeah, they've seemed to really bond and create this pickleball community.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really cool. I think it does take a little initiative, like my good Argentinian friend.
Yeah, we do have good Argentinian friends that
Yeah.
were outside of the church community that we were blessed with as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he offered to do a barbecue for this pickleball group. And it really, I think, opened up a lot of relationships and bonding through it. So
That's cool.
yeah, so find your community. It's
Yeah.
really important when you live outside your own country. Yeah.
For sure. And I think, yeah, having a routine here as well, sending our kids to school helps us feel more at home. I can honestly say that I really love living here. I love living here. There are some days when the weather is rainy and gray, and there are some seasons.
You are saying this on a sunny day.
know.
So maybe if it was the middle of winter, we'll do a video and
Yeah.
you can check in and see how we feel.
I do struggle a little bit more in winter, rainy months, just in general.
Yes.
But overall, I love living here. It feels like home. I'm so thankful we're here. I love that we get to walk everywhere. I love that, well, I see the same faces. And sometimes people, like last week, I went to the market and I was like buying these strawberries. And this guy was like, oh, yeah, I see you at Coqueta, which is a bakery. And I was like, oh, really? So people notice us. We notice people. It's a small town. I love going get my fresh flowers and my fresh produce every week. I love, trying to get in 10,000 steps a day just by my daily routine of walking the kids to school, picking them up, running errands and things like that. What else do we
love at all. I don't like it. I want to move.
Oh my God. Sorry, Calvin, you're on your own.
No, we love, I agree 100% with Camille. Everything she said. The style of life is what we were looking for. Being close to nature, just walking out the door, being able to get to a beach or the river or a historical town like Viana do Castelo is such a blessing.
Yeah.
Our house is very comfortable. I do wish it had some better heating options, but
And a sauna.
and a sauna. That's our dream, is having a sauna on the property.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have my own little garden that's only has like 3 plants, but
Hey, you got us so many tomatoes, and Calvin made fresh salsa a few times this year. It was very good, very delicious.
thank you. So I can do my garden. It's very fertile soil, which is good. Yeah, so I think it's a great place to live.
Yeah, just being also really close to Spain. We just run up to Spain quite often.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool towns around us if we don't want to stick here. I mean, we're really close to the ocean, so many benefits.
Yeah.
What do you think? I'm like, there's probably even more positives, but what do you think are some of the harder things about living here, or things that maybe you haven't liked since we moved here?
I mean, I think when you move to a country and a culture, you're always like going to miss things because they have a history, they have a pop culture, they have all these things as a culture that over, decades, there's an understanding in how things are done. And so it's missing those things. So, at school, we're constantly missing these things. Oh, you should do that. Oh, you should be part of that group. Oh, you can do that online. We don't know the way to do things. So it's a constant battle and feeling like you're always behind.
Yeah.
Whether it's even like with taxes or with, all these different new things. So that can be very overwhelming. And combine that with, I would say, a pretty bad system with their whole government and their whole, any sort of communication or technology in general, compared with, what I've experienced in the United States, at least. It's inefficient in a lot of ways. It's much more complicated than it has to be in a lot of ways.
Things just take way longer. Just to give you some examples, I mean, we finally got our residency here, which took about 1.5 years, which we were so thankful for. The day we got our residency cards in the mail, literally, I ran in the house screaming because we were so thankful.
We weren't sure it would happen.
Yeah, it was a long time. But once we got residency, we could finally have the benefits for the healthcare system, which we have used.
Or so we thought, but
Yeah. So we've used it, and it's been okay if you have like if your son has strep throat and you go and they give you a prescription, you can get in, you can see him. But for example, our son has had this problem with his foot. So we go to the doctor and they just listen. Like you can kind of get into a general appointment fairly quickly. But then she's like, you need to go there to get an x-ray. That'll be the next step.
Yeah.
So then you're like trying to figure out like how to do that. You have to like make the appointment online, or you can go there and make the appointment. And then you go there and you get the x-ray, and then you go back to the other place with the x-ray. And like I went back and I was there with my son, and she's like, oh, like he doesn't have residency yet. Oh, so he can only see a doctor, like come back tomorrow morning. And I was like, okay. She's like, yeah, you'll come back in the morning to make an appointment for the afternoon. And I was like, really? Can I like do that online? Like I have to actually come here? She's like, yeah, you have to come back. So I had to go back again the next morning and then go back again the next afternoon with my son. And then they told me everything's okay with his x-ray. And I was like, yeah, but his foot has been in pain for like almost a year. So everything's not okay. Like I'm his mom. I know he's an active boy. He's complaining like daily about this foot pain. And she's like, well, he can take Tylenol. It could be growing pains. I'm like, no.
No, like a year.
Yeah.
Pain.
She's like, okay, then I'm like, is there anything else you can do? Like, I just want to help him. I want to see him thriving and well. And she's like, I can put him on the list to see a specialist. She's like, but it'll be about a year wait. So they'll send you a letter in a year.
A letter too. So what does that even mean?
I don't know. I'm just
Will
like,
the letter ever arrive?
I was so discouraged and so disappointed. And I left and I was like, we have to basically take matters in our own hands. And I'm a believer. I pray to Jesus. I believe he answers prayers. And my Argentinian friend had messaged me about this physical therapist that her kids had seen that was really good. She's like, maybe they could help Maddox's foot. We went there. He was like, oh, yeah, I can definitely help. Like, probably within 4 sessions, he'll be better. Like, I see so much inflammation, but I'll do this and this. And of course, we had to pay for that.
Yeah.
But he's helping our son. So,
Yeah. He's already
yeah.
getting better.
Yeah. And he sees him again today for the second time. And so, yeah, just the inefficiency of the health system is very discouraging. I feel like if you want to go private, if you want to pay, you can get better health care.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you're just going to be probably discouraged and have to wait.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a real bummer and discouragement, even for the Portuguese people that have been living in this. We just come in and, we expect, oh, we can get seen by specialists, pretty quickly. But no, like if you're on public stuff, like public healthcare, you're going to have to wait. So
They have to wait too.
Yeah, they have to wait too. So it's just the reality of the healthcare system in Portugal that's overloaded, and that's, you can get into all sorts of fun political issues.
I don't think it's just here in Portugal. I think it's also in many other, I've heard, European countries. So
yeah. I mean, healthcare is obviously a very complex topic. How America deals with it, how Europe deals with it, are very different. And there's been successes, I think, in both areas. But anyways, that's healthcare for you.
Yeah, we learned that we just have to accept it. This is the reality of what it is, and do our best.
Yeah, thankfully we can afford private care, and when you do go private, okay, it is kind of expensive. I would say it's still probably at least 20 to 30% cheaper in most things than America, or even more, I think, if you stay longer or have bigger issues. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I would say like prescription drugs, things like that, also cheaper. They still can be expensive. I spent a couple $100s on medicines when I went to Malawi. And yeah, it could have been a lot more, I think, in the United States.
Yeah.
So, and they probably overprescribed me things, but I think that's also just any doctor. They're like, oh yeah, I had like a anti-nausea, anti-diarrhea. Like I had all these things, like 2 types of bug sprays, a bug spray for your clothes and your body. Yeah. So yeah, I was ready for anything in Malawi.
I think too, like just realizing and accepting that things don't move fast. Like, I feel like everything takes so much time.
Yeah,
Like,
I feel like this is a cliche. Like we say the same thing. There's so many people that say this about living in the southern and European countries.
Like, I tried returning this stupid 10-euro water bottle that my son just didn't want. And I go to the place where they say to return it, and it's not open, even though it said it was. And so then the next day, I go to another one, and they're like, oh, we don't accept Amazon returns. I waited 30 minutes just to be seen by somebody. And I'm like, no, it's like right here on the Amazon map. Like, it shows this as a location. He's like, yeah, no, sorry. So it's just like, I feel like I'm just always going to places to be told, like, nope, it's not here. Nope, we can't help you.
Yeah, or it's closed.
Yeah, I think maybe I've grown in patience living here and just being like, okay, like, I can't control this.
Yeah.
Um,
At least we don't have to drive like an hour to those places.
yeah, everywhere we're going, it's like walking. So to make the
Yeah.
appointment for my son, it's like a 15-minute walk. So it does take time because it's 15 minutes there, waiting for your appointment, and then walking home.
At least you get your steps in, though.
It's true. It's how I'm getting almost 10,000 steps a day.
Yeah, thank you, Portugal. You're much more fit. Yes. You're teaching us patience.
Yeah. I don't think, besides like, yeah, the slowness, like, I don't think I really have anything to complain about. I'm mostly just grateful and thankful and
Yeah.
feel like it's safe. It's a safe place to live.
Yeah.
People treat us well.
Mm-hmm.
Services are cheaper, like Calvin mentioned, like even things,
Haircuts.
yeah, all of that. And so, like, or like getting our house cleaned, like, I feel like we have a lot of perks and things that we do that we couldn't afford living in America because it's just a fraction of the price here. So I feel like overall our quality of life is better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been, I like to observe cultures, and when you get into different situations, like we're trying to sell our car, and so having somebody come and like look at the car, and I know how it is in America. The guy comes, and he's like, oh, what's that noise? Oh, what's that? And just seeing if it's the same, and sure enough, it is kind of the same, and it's like, oh, like this car, I don't know, the price is a little high, and I'm like, oh, it's actually kind of average and below average. And, he's like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is normal. But it's kind of fun to just see how the Portuguese handle these things and in these different situations. So
That's true.
yeah.
Well, travel is a big thing that we love, and we love Europe. So being in Europe, you can travel to other places in Europe for very cheap. And I want to say quick, but at the end of the day, like, even going somewhere that's a couple hours is going to be half your day because we're an hour from the airport. You arrive 2 hours early, you have your 2-hour flight, and then you get to your place. So it's still like a 6-hour window journey, but it's still, I mean, amazing. And we can use our residency cards now here within the EU. So that's really fun.
Yes. And I mean, Portugal has some good train systems, but it's obviously like on the very edge of Europe, which makes it very unique. But as far as train travel, it's a little more complicated to get back into, Central Europe. So like from here, you probably have to go to Vigo, Madrid, then you can go maybe to Paris or something on speed trains.
Yeah.
So it's a little more isolated, but yeah, we're close to the Porto airport, which is nice. We're close to Santiago airport too. So yeah, there's a lot of good connections.
Yeah.
But we aren't in the middle of it, that's for sure.
Yeah, true.
But that's the good thing,
Yeah.
I think it creates its own little world, Portugal world, which is different than maybe like the Central European world. So I like that. It's very unique.
Yeah, it is. We highly recommend living in or visiting Portugal. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I think we talked for a bit, just came out of us. We didn't really prepare for this video because, again, we just wanted to be a real life English conversation.
Yes.
And so we hope it was interesting for you. If you still have questions that we didn't answer about our life here in Portugal, feel free to write those in the comments and we will respond.
Yeah, or anything that we said in a certain way that you have doubts about, you can put it in the comments and we'll try and answer that as well.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
See you later.